some Bear signings. We'll see about that. But everything's going on. But the big question coming to this week is what the fuck are the Baltimore Ravens going to do about Lamar Jackson? We all knew they were going to try to get him a tag. We've been knowing for almost a year and a half now that this contract extension was not going to come. And now he got placed with the non-exclusive franchise tag. So for those of you who don't know what that means, or kind of treat it like restricted free agency in basketball. So teams can go out there and they can send an offer sheet to Lamar Jackson and find a deal and then send it to Baltimore. And Baltimore has two options. Either they can match the contract and bring him back, or they can tell him he can accept the offer sheet, and then they're going to do a sign and trade, which they would get 2 first-round draft picks. So any team that has 2 first-round draft picks and they want to get Lamar, you have to trade that before the draft. And if you don't have them, teams like the Miami Dolphins, you got to wait till after the draft to be able to do that. But the thing here that was shocking was not the news they put the non-exclusive tag on him. I think that's pretty much been news for the last couple of weeks. Nobody's really shocked about that. But the thing here is all the teams that came out and said, we're not interested. You've got where it looked like it started to pick up steam that he might be talking to the Atlanta Falcons. That got knocked down by Josina Anderson very, very quickly. And then we hear from the Carolina Panthers saying they're not interested. We hear from the Las Vegas Raiders saying they're not interested. We're hearing from all of these QB needy teams saying they're not interested. And, I saw the question on Twitter, man, it looks like the owners are colluding. Me, I'm not a conspiracy theorist. I usually don't believe shit is that deep. But then I started watching this shit and just looking at the quarterback, the Washington Commanders, we're good with Tyler Heineke, whoever the hell they got over there. And I was like, I've never seen a player of Lamar Jackson's caliber, a player who is a former league MVP, still in his 20s, in all these quarterback needy teams right away, not days after, but right away saying things like, you know what, we're good. Now, granted, all it takes is one team to say, fuck that shit. And everything gets picked right back up again. We all know that's just how the NFL goes. And also we're in lion season where you really can't take anything any GM or president says during this time because everybody's trying to keep shit under wraps. But I will say, I'm starting to think this is collusion. I'm starting to think that this is a silent agreement between owners to, we're not going to get fucked like the Cleveland Browns got fucked last year. And of course, last year, we all know the big, courting of the nasty man himself, Deshaun Watson, and just giving him an egregious $235 million all guaranteed deal, a deal we've never seen before in the history of this league last year, to a guy who's not only hadn't played in like 2 seasons, but guy who's had, more allegations than, anybody we can think of in playing football in a long ass time. So, and the Atlanta Falcons were one of the teams who were courting him. So if you're courting that nasty guy, but you don't want to do this for a former MVP, for Lamar Jackson, it raises my antennas up, man. So I don't know what the hell is going on. I really think the owners just want to kind of, rebel and say, look, that kind of contract happened once. It's not going to happen again. And we're going to make sure the market gets back to what it used to be. Now, there's multiple ways you can look at this, man, even if we don't talk about the collusion, the possible collusion aspect of it. Actually, I'm not 100% mad at the Ravens. I do feel like they're playing with fire, even though the ball is kind of in the court. I know a lot of people said the Ravens don't have any leverage. Well, that's bullshit. They do have leverage because it doesn't matter what contract that Lamar Jackson gets. The Ravens can match that shit. So to me, it's kind of like they're like, look, I also think a big part of it has to do with he doesn't have an agent, and I have no problem with, athletes saying, I'd rather take care of my finances myself. That's fine. But I do feel like an agent will help a lot of things that you can't help, like sending messages to the media, the back and forth that agents are really, really good with. Shit, if he want to get the Deshaun Watson deal, he might as well go hire Deshaun Watson's lawyer, David Mulligetta. I mean, if we take away the nasty person that Deshaun Watson is from a business perspective, from an agent perspective, that is the greatest contract ever for an agent. So if he wants that, he probably should go hire that guy. He think he has something in there, on how to get those type of deals together. So this is something that I feel, is going to evolve over the next couple of days. Teams have to have their cap set by this time next week. So I do feel like a lot of stuff is going to pick up on that front. But it's real interesting to me. Now, also feel like Lamar Jackson hasn't, done himself any favors, by getting hurt. Now we all know getting hurt isn't your fault, but getting hurt definitely hurts him a lot. You know what I'm saying? Because he hasn't played a full season in like 3 years. So that hurts too. But there's just no reason why there should be this low demand for a quarterback who is a top 10 quarterback in this league. Teams should be falling all over their heels to get this guy.